So yeah, as always, use the chat or come off mute for questions. I was trying to see if anybody looked like they were first timers. I feel like I recognize all the names, so probably good there. So yes, use the chat as you see fit. I'm glad you're making it here, and obviously this time is for you. So any questions that you may have. How do we get a Ricardo Wilkins pop figurine? So the limited time only. As you might imagine, that's AI. That's AI Copilot. I think I used Microsoft Designer, which I believe is available to anybody with a Microsoft account. So yeah, you give it a description, and if you're good with your prompts, you get a good result. So that's where that came from. And I was like, oh, that's cute. Let's throw it on my desktop. All right. So I'm reading the chat. I have a question about an issue. A couple people experiencing switching to new teams. When they click on a channel and then the Files tab, they basically get something that basically says doesn't exist. I mean, I've gotten that not just as a new Teams user, but I've gotten that in general. Let me ask, the first thing is I get it sometimes on a brand new team that's just been created, or maybe even a channel that's just been created. And I've essentially said that felt like that was, it's still churning in the background, because if I give it 10 minutes or so and come back, it's all good. So that'd be my first thought, is this a brand new channel or a brand new team? Again, just for visual, they're saying that click on files and nothing shows.
I'll jump in with some details. The person who posed the question to us was using new teams and two of their teammates, and it was an existing team. They've got about 5 documents already in the files. Mm-hmm. And the person in new teams was able to see the files, but a couple of their coworkers in classic teams were not seeing the files and were getting that error.
Classic teams.
So is there any known issues between new and classic teams that we need to know about if you're using like a hybrid environment?
I'm not aware of it. And certainly the first thing I'd have those classic team users do is go to the SharePoint location where the files are, make sure they can still see it there.
They did.
Okay. All right.
And they cleared their team's cache. I had them sign out of Teams and quit Teams and relaunch it.
Okay.
That didn't help at all. They were still getting this weird error message. And it was only 2 people in a team of 10.
Okay. And so there are other classic users who were not having that problem?
2 classic users were having the issues. About 6 others were having no issues, and then everybody else was on new teams.
Okay. Well, that's kind
of. And it does work in the browser.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're doing the right troubleshooting steps with the clearing of the cache and things like that. Another break glass technique is uninstall and reinstall in Teams, because if there are still some classic users who are fine, then thankfully that suggests it's not a larger problem probably. And I would have all those users compare their version of classic Teams that they're on to see if it's a version issue.
Okay.
So short answer, I haven't heard of that as a problem in general. And in fact, you do have some folks who are fine. Suggests just a bad day for a couple of folks, I think.
Just gremlins and a couple computers. Okay.
Right.
I am curious, did you open a ticket? A support ticket?
No, they didn't want to go that far.
Okay.
It was our desktop team, and they're like, yeah, we don't have time for that.
Yeah, I know it can be time consuming to do that. I was just curious if you had could be that if there is some sort of issue that would be beyond what you're experiencing, like if other customers are experiencing it, then the way we know is when tickets come in. So if you guys aren't doing the ticket creation because it's, a minor thing, I totally get it. But if it is something that is surfacing for other organizations, we wouldn't know if everyone took that approach, right? So just want to encourage. Yeah,
I definitely would have logged a ticket if we had new teams out to more than just our desktop team right now.
Sure.
But because it's only just the desktop team and the team's administrators, we were like, do you want me to log a ticket? They're like, no, we've got too much work to do. So
yeah.
But if it was someone else, we would definitely bring that up. So
okay, we'll keep that in mind as you guys roll out. If that issue continues to surface periodically, it might be worth it to log that in. Okay,
we will. Cool. Thanks.
I'm also curious, for the folks who are here, is there anyone that does not yet have access to new teams in their, what I'm assuming will be a government space, maybe by a raised hand or a thumbs up or something? Because from what I can see, and really from what you guys' feedback has been in previous sessions, it's pretty clear that it is rolling out. But I know I've talked to customers that still don't have it. So I didn't see any response. Either you're checking your email or you all have new teams out there. So so that's good. And I will say we're testing new teams with the small group of users. Okay. I do have some customers who were waiting for the toggle that never came or hasn't come yet, and downloading the teams from like the download page, the public download page seems to be a way that they are able to force the new team. So no, it didn't kind of roll to them automatically, but if they just go grab the new client and just install that, then that seems to do the trick. So, but in any case, if there is some trouble, work with your IT folks, admin, so on that. Speaking of new teams, and I think, I didn't compare it to Classic, so I'm assuming this is a new teams thing. Let's fire up a meeting here. Yeah, I guess this isn't necessarily a new teams thing, because some of what I'm showing I remember in the Classic. But in a meeting, over here, you've got the ribbon is a little, it's been upgraded a bit, or a different look. And one of these is the view, which I think has always been there, but might be some things in here I don't think that we've talked about before. The gallery is, we're used to together mode. We're used to large gallery is gray until I think 9 or 10 people get in the meeting. So we're used to all that. The sign language might be new. And again, I'm on a GCC client. So silent, and I don't think it really does anything until I've got some video showing, but that's meant to be, to kind of help spotlight the interpreter that might be there. So calling that out. And then calling out speaker view. I want to call that out for a couple of reasons. One is, if you were a Zoom user coming to Teams, the speaker view, I think, is I think it might be the default in Zoom and not the default in Teams. But if you like that experience, then I kind of call this out to say that you can have a speaker view, and what that is that the person talking is the one that's automatically pinned or full screen or whatever in the meeting for you. So that option is there. And depending on my meeting, I have used speaker view, especially if there are a lot of video feeds on, which is cool. Like say 10 or 20 people have their video on. And so I'm not seeing everybody in either the gallery or on the side. And so I like that idea of somebody speaking who maybe hasn't spoken in a while, and thus they are down in the unseen areas of my gallery, coming, up to the front. And really, I really got to fix this demo tennis so I can kind of show some of these things. But essentially, with that speaker view, then it starts they get highlighted here, but it starts stacking them on the side as well, the current like active speakers. So I like it from the perspective of it pushing people up that may be hidden, their videos may be hidden because there's so many folks in the meeting. However, the other thing I suggest here too is your use in a meeting of pinning and or spotlighting as well. So spotlighting, and let's see, can I show it? Yeah, spotlighting, if you don't know, is when you are saying, make this person's feed be the pinned large video feed on the screen. And you don't have to be an organizer to do it. I think you have to at least be at presenter mode. However, this is you making a decision for everyone in the meeting. Then there's pinning for me. That's basically the same effect, but just for me. And I call these out just because I like clean, elegant meetings, and especially large meetings. Sometimes I kind of sit back and bite my tongue because I wish the organizers would spotlight the current speaker or speakers to make the meeting look better. I mean, you guys have probably been in these meetings where
I so agree.
Yeah, and it's used, and it just looks good to have the main speaker have a larger video feed than the rest, or pressed up to the top. Someone who's doing the presentation shouldn't be a small square amongst others. And that gets even worse for me when attendees in a large meeting are just deciding to turn on their cameras, and so they look like they're about to present. It's a little quirk for me. So so one, I wish organizers would use that more. As an attendee of a meeting, I don't like to, even though I have the ability to spotlight, I don't like to make that choice for the organizers. But that's what would be used to kind of highlight the speaker. However, if nobody's paying attention and not doing that, I still want a good experience, and that's where pinning comes into play. I can essentially get that experience for myself by pinning the right people, and so that just helps my nerves in that meeting to kind of get the view that I want to get. So a healthy use of pinning can let you see the meeting in the way that you want. That's also a way these days, so many people have such interesting backgrounds that pinning will let you see it big and nice and high fidelity, and then you get to take a look at all the little details of their background. That's another thing I do in a meeting instead of taking notes, I guess. So yeah, pinning and spotlighting, just wanted to call those out in terms of since we're talking about views here. So that would be a gallery kind of related view, and that will work with the speaker view as well. Then the last thing regarding views, and I think we've talked together mode, we've talked about in the past. The other view that's not here yet, but is starting to roll out, is, you may have heard of immersive spaces. So that is joining, and that would be in the view here. I'm actually trying to check simultaneously if my commercial tenant has it. I might just switch over. Not that I can fully show that experience. Maybe I could. It's not in my commercial tenant either. But immersive spaces is where you can join a meeting in this 3D environment with your avatar and all that stuff. I don't know what the date is for GCC on that, and in fact, it may not even be fully rolled out for commercial, because as I'm looking on the side at my commercial tenant, actually it is there. I'm going to just switch real quick here, just so you can see. So commercial tenant view, immersive space 3D. Some other thing, I'll get to that in a sec. Let me see what this does. I don't know, it may take too much to, I don't know if it'll cooperate. But as I was saying, Microsoft Mesh, it's a 3D space. 3D, but you're looking at it really in a 2D environment. You kind of use your mouse to move around. And not only does it give you another way of, viewing your meeting, there are some spaces for socializing and all that kind of thing. It gets kind of cool there. It gets even cooler when you throw a VR headset like a Quest or on. Yeah, of course, this is probably going to give me trouble. We'll see if it works. It's probably using like every bit of my VM's poor little resources, but so there's my avatar. There's the immersive space here. Obviously, I don't have a microphone in this. What you may have saw that just mentioned was spatial audio, and so that's one of the key things I was going to call out on this. Is it's not just like you're kind of watching your meeting in a video game, but again, when you start to put all the hardware in together, you're hearing you're sitting at a virtual table across from your virtual teammates and hearing them from where they are. It's not, if someone's sitting to your right, you're hearing them on the right. And so it really just adds a new component to meetings. And if that catches on in your org, just becomes a new way to experience a meeting instead of staring at a lot of circles with initials in them. So to me, it's kind of like the next iteration of what's it called? The together mode. Now you're kind of really together. And I don't know, this is really, it's barely chugging along. This VM, and it was not tuned for this kind of processing. But that just gives you a little taste of that. So yeah, so that's one of the other things in the immersive space piece. What you're also seeing here, I don't know the timing of when it's rolling out. Actually, let me get out of this max gallery size. So when you do have multiple people and, the typical might be 4 or 9, but you can basically tell teams when a lot of people are on, go ahead and make my gallery view 49, or 16. And if there's 18, then there's a little page viewer to go to the next page, that kind of thing. Prioritize people with video on and all that good stuff. So cool things coming in the view area. Again, that's all just about controlling your meeting experience, and the organizer's not on their P's and Q's, and you can kind of do your thing and make your experience better as well. So any questions on that? I'll switch back to the GCC here. Any questions there? I think I missed some chat going on. I think Stacey's got that going. Was that a Copilot question?
Yeah, just some interest in a DemoGov Copilot, which I'm eager for too, but it's not yet available.
For GCC, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see, because there's been a couple of at least new to me, and it could be that I just hadn't talked Teams meetings as recently as I should have. But if you leave that meeting and you go to the new meeting button there in Teams and GCC, I'm curious what the drop down there. Okay, so soon there'll be a couple of additional ones for GCC. We've talked about Town Hall, of course, quite a bit in this session. And there's also one that I noticed in my commercial tenant that is and you have a commercial tenant. Yeah, see that controlled content meeting? I thought that was an interesting take. From what I can tell at first glance, and I just stumbled across it this morning, it looks like it brings those meeting options right front and center in scheduling so that you can take advantage of the types of governance that you want in that particular content controlled meeting. So that's an interesting one. I'll have to look and see if that's published on the roadmap as when it's arriving for GCC. But it's very new to commercial, so could be a bit.
Good stuff. I'll switch back here. Good stuff. By the way, I'm also curious, do I have a way to show it to you? You probably are familiar with presenting in Teams and getting options for, I used to call it the weather person view, where you're superimposed over the content that you're sharing. I'm just wondering by maybe thumbs up or hands raised, if anybody's ever presented with that. So maybe not. Okay. Oh, we got at least one person that has used that. Okay. Yeah, it just came up as I kind of saw it on my screen, and I remember being very excited about that feature. But in the meetings I've had, I just haven't used it that much. I think I end up defaulting to the PowerPoint Live, and I think I may even just forget that those options are there. So I just thought about that, and thought was curious about that. Let's see what else we got going on. Teams Premium talk in the chat. Okay. Good stuff. Any other questions in chat or off mute anybody had? I thought we talked about the files button. I thought we were going to dive into some SharePoint and file management stuff. I was getting all excited, and then that went away. So I'm always up for talking about files and Teams / SharePoint. I do think, Stacy, I think the files button though quietly went away in lieu of the OneDrive button.
Yeah.
So yeah, so now you got your files via OneDrive. I wasn't a big user of the files tab or files button in general over in the left rail. So I guess that's why I didn't notice it till recently. But yeah, still got access to obviously your recent files and files in other teams, just not with the files button. And likely, I suspect it's a more elaborate experience. I mean, the files tab was very basic. I think it had basically like 2 views. It certainly has much more functionality and even easy access to getting to the site where the files are, all that good stuff. And of course, access to your OneDrive, which I believe was like a separate tab or something in that view originally. So good stuff there. While I'm here, the last thing I'll say here, which maybe all of you are already doing, but that sync button there is what gives you, the kind of ability to, in your Windows Explorer, to see Teams / SharePoint files right in Windows. So you're not forced to use the browser or Teams to interact with your files. You can interact with them as if they are right on your machine, right through Windows Explorer. So as long as you see that cloud there, or some symbol there, because if I were to say always keep on this device, it would go to sync a little and then go to the green. But as long as that stuff's there, the edits I'm doing will still be reflected to the rest of my team who's using Teams or the browser or whatever. If you don't see that there, but have this set up, sometimes it's just a matter of going down to your OneDrive and kind of getting it going again. The easiest little hack I have for getting OneDrive going again, I can obviously actually end it and restart it, but I just go in and pause it. Files are not currently syncing, and then I just unpause it, and that signs it back in. That really always kicks it back into view. It makes it, if I feel like I haven't gotten a file, I know the file's there, but doesn't seem like it's come down to me yet. That's my little hack for getting OneDrive to wake up and do its job. So quick little hack. Again, you could go so far as to quit and restart. That'd probably do the same thing, but to me, this is a lot quicker. I don't know why I'd ever pause syncing for a whole day. I guess, I don't know. Too much work. I'm trying to focus, maybe. I don't know. So.
I don't know. Yeah, pausing, syncing. I don't think I'd use that for very long at all.
Yeah. Good stuff. And I see I ask about coffee sessions for Copilot and other things. So what's being referenced there, I used to do some what I call coffee with the cowbell. I think I stopped that actually, I don't know, sometime last year. So yeah, I may have to resurface that. The ones that I did do are out there somewhere. I think they're on my site. Yeah, so they're out there. And that was for those of you like me who want to talk about Teams even at 9 o'clock at night. I have decaf versions of my coffee with the cowbell, and I have early morning. So I'll basically talk about Teams any time of day. And so yeah, hit me up if you want me to resurface that, and I'll think about that. Good stuff. All righty. Got a couple more minutes here. Maybe in the last couple of minutes, use the chat if there are any, just to kind of get a little lineup of what you'd like to maybe see in the next session, see us talk about. Just throw them in the chat randomly. I guess I could have made a poll for that. That would have been better. I've been using polls recently with great success. Even though they've been around a while, I still see attendees appreciate the experience of the poll right in front of their face, get the real-time stats, all that good stuff. So polls are cool. All righty. Well, good stuff. Glad everybody could make it. We'll hit it back again in a couple of weeks. I'll update the site with the date and everything. I think it's probably late January something or other. No, maybe it's February. So yeah, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks. And thanks for joining.
Yeah, we'll be in February next time, February 2nd.
Good deal. All right. Good to see you.
Thanks all. Have a great day.